to adopt strict measures on coal-fired power stations. As part of the battle against climate change, the G7 group will pledge to move away from coal plants unless they have technology to capture carbon emissions. It is the first time the leaders of wealthy nations have committed to keeping the projected global temperatures rise to 1.5 degrees Celsius. The G7 leaders also agreed to align their positions on COVID-19 vaccines funds for Africa and fighting against pressure from authoritarian regimes. Coal is the world's dustiest major fuel, and ending its use is seen as a major step by environmentalists. But they also want guarantees rich countries will deliver on previous promises to help poorer nations cope with climate change. The G7 will end the funding of new coal generation in developing countries and offer up to $2.8 billion to stop using the fuel. Climate change has been one of the key themes at 3-day summit in KBC Cornwall. The leaders also set out plans to reduce emissions from farming, transport, and the making of steel and cement. They will also set to protecting 30% of global land and marine areas for nature by 2030 and pledge to almost halve their emissions by 2030 relative to 2010 levels. Addressing the summit, Sir David Attenborough, a naturalist, warned that humans could be on the verge of destabilizing the entire planet.
Scientific collaboration on COVID treatment and vaccines showed just how much we can achieve together when the goal is clear and urgent. We know in detail what is happening to our planet, and we know many of the things we need to do during this decade. Tackling climate change is now as much a political and communications challenge as it is a scientific or technological one. We have the skills to address it in time.
The leaders of the 7 major industrialized nations of the United Kingdom, United States of America, Canada, Japan, France, Germany, and Italy also promised to convince the world's leading democracies to join in accelerating global vaccine deliveries to ensure the globe meets the demand for vaccines.